Well, we're back, Jamie. I don't think I've been over to your place this often in a long time, but last time I left you, we were pouring some epoxy on a table, and tonight we're going to pull it off and see what happens. But before we do that, there was a few tables here we were going to talk about.
Okay. Well, we'll start over to your left, Greg. We had these ones here before. What I did this time around is I took and I beveled the top edge. So now I'll just sand that out, polish it, and that one is 100% finished then. This one here needs at least one, maybe two more coats of a clear coat on the top, and it'll be done too. And the round nightmare that we were talking about in the first video and stuff, well, I've got it poured, and I've taken the clamps off and everything just so I can show you kind of what has to be done. Is this side over here is pretty well sanded. It's got rid of all the extra epoxy it ran over the top. Over here there's still a little bit of sanding here, so all that stuff's got to come out of there. And then eventually it's got to look nice and smooth, just like this right here. So this stuff down here and where the clamps were and stuff, it's all got to go, and bring it right down to the wood. Give it the clear coat, light sanding in between, 2 coats of clear coat, and it'll be finished. And then I've had a couple of different people ask about kitchen tables and dining tables, so I figured the best way to do that would be I want to make an island for ourselves upstairs. So we picked the size of the island top to be the size of an actual kitchen dining table. That way when I'm pouring it, got the wood in it and everything, I can kind of have an idea what I can tell people what it's going to be worth. Otherwise, I'm playing in the dark and taking guesses when somebody asks me how much for something.
So I know, Jamie, like looking on the internet, some of these tables that people make are extremely expensive. So like you're feeling your way into this, trying to figure out something cost effective and whatnot. So you need to know how many hours you put into something like this before you can start.
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to be fair to everybody. I want to know how much time, how much wood, how much epoxy I have in it. And yeah, you see the ones on the internet going for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $15,000, whatever. I'm not going to do that. I can't make all my money off of one person. I want to be fair where I can pocket a couple, $200 or $300 off of every job, something this big, and make somebody enjoy it for the rest of their lives.
So talk to me about the wood on this one, because I don't. Again, I'm not a.
This here again now is another ash tree that came from out behind my place here. It's got a nice, beautiful burrow here. I'm hoping that really pops out and makes it look nice when it's done. Otherwise, it's just Manitoba ash. I'm not 100% what type of ash it is. I just Manitoba ash because it came from behind my house and that's where I live.
So how did you get it cut like this?
There's a guy I use in Boisevine that's got a sawmill. There's a few sawmills in the area and everything like that. And I've been looking at them for a while now, and I'm thinking there possibly might be a sawmill in my yard here. Hopefully, come mid-spring, late or early summer. Just for the facts that. This one piece of wood right here, for example, 72 inches long, approximately 12 inches wide, is about $450 for me to buy it from a sawmill for this one piece of wood.
Oh.
So now if you look at this here, if I had to go and purchase the wood from the sawmills and stuff, I'm looking at $800 to $1,200 just for wood alone, just for the slabs, dried and cured. And if I can have a sawmill here and cut all my own lumber and make a sun-dried kiln and everything, or a sun-cured kiln and everything like that, where I can kiln or put my own wood in and dry my own wood and everything, and it's going to be more feasible for me. And I probably could start selling slabs of wood to people too for a little extra income.
There you go.
Now we were talking about last time was building a table and pouring it. It was this one here for the fire department to raffle off. Second place was going to be this 36 inch by 18 inch table. So I got the chunk of wood here for it, and now all I have to do is more or less cut down the center of it, cut the end off, flip this one around so the smooth edge is the outside. This will be the other outside. Flip one over so that the curvature of the wood will actually come together, and it'll be about probably about a 3-inch river or a 2.5-inch river down through the center of it. And if I keep at it, I'll probably have it pretty well finished next week. And that's going to be the second place prize for the raffle that we're doing. And this here is the third place, which is a cutting board. It's almost dry enough to take out of the form. It might need another day before I knock it out of the form. Take it over to the Hutterite colony, run it through their big sander, get it down to the bare wood, treat it with food grade oil, and it's finished. So
those seem to be fairly popular, the cutting boards. I guess it's small enough that and adds a little character to kitchens that people like them. Yeah, a lot of people probably aren't ever going to cut anything on this cutting board. They're going to just leave it sitting up against the counter, or like we have one upstairs and stuff, and we refuse to cut on it. We know we can, but it sits there and it looks good. Aesthetics. Yeah. So actually, again, I don't know much about epoxy, but you can cut on that? You're not going to leave cut marks on that? You won't leave a cut mark on it. This here X-Acto knife and stuff is way sharper than what your kitchen knives are going to be. And cutting that, like you can see a little scratch on it. You wipe that with that butter or even olive oil, and that scratch comes right back out. And that's coming out of a X-Acto knife. Your kitchen knives aren't near that sharp. So you can see a little bit of a scratch there, but it's not grooved. It's just a surface scratch. Yeah. So that's going to be coasters, I guess. Leftover epoxy and stuff. We come up with this when we were pouring the blue table. That we use some sour cream containers and you make some coasters to put on the table. So when you're talking about that, yeah. So you got that color match for. You got that color match for the table. There's your coasters, and that way you're not staining your table or anything if people are slobbering drunk and spilling all over the place. I wouldn't know anything about that because I never get that way. All right, so now we're gonna get working here on this table. Some people from the last video couldn't wait to see part 2. Well, guys, we're going to get up part 2 here. So we're going to take the clamps off. So there's nothing special about these clamps. These are just normal wood clamps? Normal wood clamps I bought from the local hardware store. Like everything else I seem to buy. I'm going to actually purchase some longer clamps just for the fact of going into the center or something like that. Like these ones can only go to there. I want to get some that are about 1.5 feet deep so that I can actually put one clamp down in the middle of my table. Just to make sure the wood's all down. So now you grab this rubber hammer and stuff and you just give these a little crack and they come right off. Amy, we're cheating a little bit here, and you're going to show us how these clamps came off, but you've actually done this already. But yeah. And the reason that you've done that is that we want to well, I can't get the table finished tonight. Yeah. So maybe explain what you've done before, and you put the clamps back on, and I'll show you guys what the procedure looks like when the clamps were on. But just be aware that the clamps were on, off, and now they're on again. Yeah. So now you take the clamp off, and it would have a ring here. A big ring on where the clamp was. We can go back over to the blue table, and I got one spot over there we can show you, which is right here, and it's got a pretty good lip on it, and that's just from where the puck actually set down inside there. Right. And that holds the wood down solid so that it doesn't float. So then you hit it with a hammer, it comes off, sand that all out, pour a coat of clear coat on it. Now we've got the clamps and everything all off, so now what I have is I'm rubbing my hand over it, and I can feel a couple little dust fibers or whatever in there, and it's got a couple little spots on it. I'm just going to grab a piece of
probably 300 or 600 sandpaper and just touch those couple spots that I can feel before we wipe it all down and pour the new the finished coat epoxy on it. So you give me a second here, I'll grab a piece of sandpaper, 320, 600, 800 grit. We'll go with 800 grit, that's pretty well smooth. You can actually see the printing right through it. That's how fine it is. And they make this right up to, like, I've used 3000 grit sandpaper. But this here, for what we're going to do, this will take those little bumps. Like there's one right here. I don't know if you can pick that up or not, Greg. There's a little bump there. So I'm just going to just take that and the bump's gone. So just run my hand over it, make sure I can't feel any down here. Everything looks good there. One right there. So we'll just get around here. I got another one on the center board there. It's actually got a pretty good bump on it. So where was it? Right here. If I just take that once and I go across it, you'll actually see better. Every time I strike it, you'll see that it's going away, but you don't have to get it 100%. Like, we are pouring another coat of epoxy over it. Wherever we scratch this right now, it's just coloring, taking the shine out of it. We pour the new epoxy, the next coat of epoxy on there, that shine's going to come right back. Just take the shine out, you can see how it's faded there. Even just licking my finger a little bit, you can see the shine come back. So when we put the water on there, the epoxy on there, you'll see that shine come right back. And I think we've got it.
How many layers of epoxy do you put on, Jamie?
This will be the third coat of epoxy to finish this table.
And 3 normally does it?
3 normally does it. I have done it in 2. I just don't like doing my clear coat and everything too thick when I'm doing it. I prefer to do 1/8 of an inch or whatever versus doing a full 1/4 of an inch. There's no point in doing 1/4 of an inch when you only need it 1/8 of an inch. Because it's not cheap stuff, so if you can save on it, you save on it. And right here we got almost looks like a, let me get rid of that spot too. Just not happy with that. The more I sit here and rub, the more I'm going to find problems. So let's just get rid of the sandpaper and wipe the dust off there and pour it.
You could really see the swirling now in the rivers that you were talking about before, like in the last video when you were using the stick.
Yeah, that's my favorite little stick here.
Right. And so I know I left and everything was really wet, but how many times did you have to come back and do that?
We poured this, I think we started doing the video last time you were here was around 7 o'clock. I was still down here at 3:30, 3:45 in the morning doing the swirls and getting air bubbles out of it. We just finished pouring that cutting board 2 days ago. I actually came down yesterday morning and took air bubbles out of it still.
Yeah. But no, those swirls really are quite add to it.
Yeah, and, the same as that cutting board and stuff, but when I poured it, it was just all one solid color, and then I did the same thing, just swirled it a little bit, just to give it a little detail and character. Yeah. So I'm going to grab a cloth now and wipe all the dust out of here that I possibly can, and we're going to mix up some epoxy and pour that final finish. But before we do that, I'll wipe it down, and when I wipe it down, then I'm going to take a minute or so and I'm going to level everything and make sure that it's level, because then if it's level, I don't have to sand nothing. I don't have to do anything when we're done pouring that epoxy. Take it out of the form, bevel the edge, and stick the legs on it and put it on display.
Anything special about the cloth?
No, it's just a cloth that my wife uses for cleaning, and she probably gets mad at me once in a while too when she goes to throw them in the washing machine and finds out that there's a gob of epoxy on it, and it's hard when she goes to start cleaning something. But maybe she should get my own, I guess. Okay, I think I got
So when people have questions about this, the best way to get a hold of you is through your email or through your Facebook page. What do you prefer?
Either. You can Facebook me, email. I don't know if my phone number's, I guess on my epoxy page, my phone number's there. I prefer not to have a phone call. If a text message would be better.
Well, for the record, it's a lot easier if you don't have a pen handy and somebody emails you with some questions you can get back to without having to. Yeah. Yeah,
and after that last video aired and stuff, I had a few different people contact me about doing jobs for them. I'm actually going to head to Minto and pour a little 12-inch shelf by 72 inches long for a guy that does mechanical work there and stuff. He wants to put gears and connecting rods and bearings and everything in it. So I've wanted to do one, so now I got a chance to do it. So. Well, we're going to mix up a little bit of epoxy here, guys, and we're going to pour this. I'm quite happy with the smoothness of it now. Alright. So it's the A. So I do, on this pour here and stuff, I'm doing a 1.5 liters of A. I'm doing 1.5 liters of B, which is the hardener. I can grab the bottle of hardener right here. So here's a bottle of hardener. So you got your A is your resin and B is your hardener, and it is the tabletop art epoxy. So it's and when this goes on and stuff, you'll see when I'm pouring it, it just goes so smooth and everything. It's just it's really nice. I just wipe it with a credit card, actually, an old credit card or a bank card or any piece of plastic, like just wipe it with it, and it seems to self-level.
Minutes,
yeah, approximately 5 minutes. You'll see in the bucket again, you'll see down in there that there's a little bit of a milky wave looking to it. You just want to make sure that that's all gone and it's nice and clear. I'm stirring it by hand this time, just for the facts of bubbles. Trying to keep the bubbles down. Stir sticks and stirrers and stuff like that. When you're using the drill, it always seems to create more bubble. Just doing it by hand, just for the facts that I can't get my hand moving quite as fast as the drill. I know I'm quick, but not quite that quick.
So do you find the temperature of the resin and epoxy, like, do you find temperature makes a difference with any kind of bubbles or how it mixes?
Yeah, it does actually. I was just reading up on that earlier today, actually, and they say if it's too cold and stuff like that, it will create more bubbles. The warmer it is, the less bubbles is going to, well, same as anything else. When you get to oils and liquids and stuff like that, anything warm runs quicker than it does with it being stiff. So it's the room temperature, where, like, we're in the basement of my house where it's quite comfortable in the house for temperature and stuff, and it seems to be just the right temperature for this too. I got a brochure somewhere with the temperature that they recommend, but right off the top of my head I can't remember what it is. But I'm going to stop stirring for a minute, and I'm going to grab a level and just make sure that the table is level. So we're going to use both a 4-foot and a 2-foot level. We're going to set this 4-foot level right down inside, and I don't think we can get any closer than that. It's looking pretty good for a rookie. Check it on both sides to make sure, because it could be twisted a little bit. That 4-foot way is good. Grab the 2-foot level. And there again, the 2-foot level looks good. And another thing, once I do pour it, I'm just gonna watch it too and make sure that it's not piling up one corner or the other corner. And if it's piling up, for example, in this corner, I'll just shove a shim underneath it and let it flow, so everything looks the same depth and looks good. It's looking pretty well bubble free. Now we're ready to pour, but I'll just take that stir stick and set it down. Now this here, we're just going to go straight down the center. the one side, back around, and done. So now you'll see that going there. I'm just going to grab this now and let this drain into here. We can set it up somewhere. It'll catch all the rest of that tabletop out of there, and then I'll send it to Mr. Don Funk. Mound Wildlife is the one we're using tonight. It's an expired Mound Wildlife card, so
it's just a business card you're using?
Yeah, just a plastic card, just kind of like a credit card or a debit card. And, oh, just cleaning the stir stick off here a bit, but if you look in here now, you can see right along here, the epoxy hasn't ran over to this edge yet. Over here, it's already at the edge. Over there, it's self-leveling. State this card, wipe it out to the corner. Come down here, just go straight down, done. Straight down, done. Once you see it all to the outside edges, just drag it around a few times, make sure. If you get it up on the side of the form, no big deal, it'll come back down.
And this is the third coat, did you tell me, Jamie?
Yes, this is the third and final coat for this table.
And how long, again, do you have to wait for it to dry? Like between...
I'm going to leave this one in here now. It's Wednesday evening. I'm not going to do anything with this until late Saturday, possibly Sunday, just for the facts that I want to make sure it's good and hard and all the air is out of it. That way, no more touching it. Throw some legs on it and get it into town and get it on display for people to start buying tickets. And hopefully the guys in the fire department and stuff can raise enough money that we can buy stuff for the hall. I'm very happy with that. If you look at it now, Greg, you can actually see quite a few bubbles in the top of it. We're going to just wait for a minute or two, and then we're going to get the torch and we're going to get rid of those bubbles. And the nice thing about this tabletop epoxy from that company is when you pour this brand and you get rid of the bubbles the first time around, you're done. There's top. For the facts that the other epoxy is kind of their main deep pour epoxy has sealed everything up, so the air can't get out of the wood or into the wood or anything like that. So it's wipe it with the torch, and we're pretty well finished it.
So you've had really good luck with this type of epoxy? Yes,
I have not been using. I used another product that I wasn't too happy with, but this guy. Or this company, I got a hold of a gentleman down there, and he sent me my first order and everything, and I'm not going to look back. I'm going to stick with them. It's a very good product, and I'm very, very happy with it. And if anybody needs any epoxy or anything like that, I usually have some on hand, or if it's a big hurry and stuff and you don't got time to wait for you to order it, whatever, you can always come and purchase it from me, and then I can just replace it. We're going to take this torch now and we're going to get rid of a few bubbles here. As I hit it with the torch, you might be able to pick up the bubbles better than without the torch. But too much heat there.
How often will you go over it with the torch?
This table here, or now with this being the last coat, I'm hoping just this once and it'll all be gone. As long as I make sure I get them all the first time around. Oh. know somebody on the fire department. You're a little too close there. But you can kind of see what I mean. Once I get if I get them all the first time around, I won't have to go back to it. There's not really big bubbles. It's just you can just see the air. Hoping I don't have to babysit it all night, but Dale Hepner in town, he has an Indian motorcycle, and what I'm doing over there right now, if I don't know if Greg showed you on the video or not, but there's a logo on them on the computer screen that says Indian, and so it's the same rating and everything as the Indian motorcycle has on it for their badge. And I was cutting a piece of wood that I was going to put into a table, and I got sitting there looking at it, and the piece of wood looks more or less identical to the same shape as the crest on the motorcycle. So I took the piece of wood into town today, and I was showing Dale, and he decided that piece of wood doesn't need to go into into a table or a piece of furniture. It's got to have the word Indian embedded on it, Indian motorcycle, and hang on a shop wall. So I came home and I was setting things up here for this video and stuff tonight, and I figured, well, got that done and we're ready to go with this, and I had some time to kill, so I got playing with the computer and got that ready to print. So we'll talk a little more about it after I get the bubbles out of this, and getting pretty close to it now. So
what the hell do you got here now, Jamie?
It's a CNC wood burner. We're learning to play with it. I've done a few signs and stuff. There's a company in town made some signs for. A couple different people have approached me and stuff about urn tops and stuff like that. I've built urns and everything, and I've done the wood burning on the top of them. This is for a gentleman's father that I know the gentleman really well, and him and his wife approached me about making it for them, and I was honored to do it for them. Grandson, he has to have a sign for his bedroom, so we made one of them up too. And like I said, I've done a business card. I don't have it here with me, but it was a picture of him that I had just a photo of, and I actually did it so that you could see his dimples on his face when I was done burning it. So we got it set up right now. Over here on the computer screen, it's going to have a Indian motorcycle. So I start off with the first word Indian, and then underneath it in smaller letters, probably about a 1-inch letter, I'll put motorcycle. So now it's all programmed in and everything. So all I really have to do is I don't have to hit frameworks or anything. All I have to do is hit print, and it's going to give these glasses to Greg once I get going here, and he can zoom in and out with the GoPro and stuff and show everybody what's going on with it.
So why do I need the glasses, Jamie?
It's a laser, just like any laser and stuff like that. You get laser treatments on your eyes and stuff, and they can remove cataract problems and stuff like that. So if you start looking at that, it'd probably give you more cataract problems. So I'm going to get ready here to hit start. So just watch your eyes, Greg. Don't look directly at the laser. And we are burning. So I'll give these to you, and you can take a look at it and watch what it's doing there for a minute. So that's going to take 2 hours and 37 minutes to burn that.
So the whole computer does the work. Like, you've programmed everything in, so it's all automatic right now, and
yeah. So it'll just slowly burn in, and when it's done and stuff, it'll be about 1/16 of an inch deep. It's not really burnt into the wood really deep, but it's burnt in good. On the computer and stuff, if you watch the computer, there's a X on the computer screen, and or a plus sign on the computer screen. You can see it going across, and that's where it's moving on the rating and stuff. And then on the other side over here, there's a great big column here, and you can watch it going up, and it tells you which lines it's doing, how fast, what everything is on it. It's a pretty neat toy, actually.
So you know what this means now. I'm going to have to come back and bother you again to see what the finished product is, because I'm not staying here for 3 hours. And
Well, it's no, you're welcome to come back. As far as that goes, Greg, I can bring the finished product over and show you right at your house.
so the finished product. So after it's burnt, what do you do with it then?
I'll go back into the epoxy thing now, and I'll put a clear coat of epoxy over top of it after it's done burning, just to seal the wood up and make a shine on it and everything. So I'll end up using the tabletop art epoxy on it just to give it a shine.
So basically clear, no color or anything. It's
No color, no nothing. No,
so just bring out, highlights the wood and
yeah, make the wood grain and everything pop on it, and seal it up and stop it from cracking or any further than what it already is.
take some insert shots here.
So now we're at 2 minutes of 2.5 hours, so we got a little time to wait for.
Well, thanks again, Jamie, for showing me some of this stuff. I've got some ideas for your wood burner that's just going over on this side, and you're going to be working on both this and that tonight, finishing them off. If anyone has any comments or questions for Jamie, you can find his information in the link below. I'd like to thank Jamie for taking the time to show me some of this stuff. And again, this all started from us talking about my daughter's bar bin that I started off with last year and was trying to figure out something to do with the bar top. And I'm getting lots of ideas between your wood burner and the epoxy behind me. So if you like that video, give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing. As always, take care, and thanks again, Jamie.
Thanks for coming over, Greg.